James catches, puts up a three. Won't go. Rebound Bosch. Back out to Allen. His three-pointer. Bang! Tie game with 5 seconds remaining.
Am I on? Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant good evening. Welcome to another episode of the Lewis Sports Network. It is your boy Lewis talking some basketball. All right, coming at you with another live stream banger with yet another video. Make sure to smash that like button. Hit the subscribe button. Make sure your notifications are turned on. Make sure you're sharing this on your social media platforms. Truly appreciate it. So, shout out to Kenneth Wright. Long time no see, everybody. Shout out to Lamario Owens. Okay, appreciate you coming on through. So, what is this video about that I had to come out here and say this? I was talking about this with Jay on the Red Sox against the Orioles stream, and I said this is a narrative that I'm getting really sick and tired of pretty much hearing with when it comes to basketball, when it comes to these two teams and this whole thing about this being an upset and it's the greatest comeback in NBA Finals history and all this kind of stuff. I am going to tell you and explain to you, ladies and gentlemen, that this was not an upset. This was not an upset. And I'm going to dispel all these narratives in this live stream. Okay? But before you do that, make sure to hit the like button. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. Make sure those notifications turn on. And make sure you share this on your social media platforms. Because I need to dispel all these narratives when it comes to the King and when it comes to Steph Curry in these 2016 NBA Finals. Because shout out to Josh the GOAT. Because I'm getting sick and tired of the fact that people really can't see what I've been trying to tell people this for the longest time when it comes to about this series, when it comes to elevating LeBron James. Before I even get started, first of all, shout out to Russell Westbrook for becoming the all-time triple-double king, passing Oscar Robertson. Now he is now first all-time with 182 triple-doubles. So congratulations to Russell Westbrook. Also, let me also say this. Despite what I'm going to say about LeBron, I'm going to basically say this. He is one of the greatest players to ever play. I've mentioned this so much. I have him 6th on my all-time list. If you happen to miss what I said, make sure that you catch the replay on this live stream. Okay? LeBron James, I have 6 all-time out of the 10 greatest players in NBA history. I have my reasons for why I cannot put him above Larry Bird, but that's just my list. That is my subjection, and this is the way that I'm going to do it. Shout out to Karam. He says if Draymond wasn't suspended for Game 5, the Warriors should have won it all. I'm going to get to all this, man. Now, the moment you guys have been waiting for, let's get started with this video. Again, make sure to like and make sure to share this video because, again, people need to hear this. Yes, 6. I don't got him any higher. I don't got him any lower, Kenneth. That's just the way that I see things when it comes to his career. Top 10 resume when you put it all in perspective. I mean, he brings a lot to the table, but like I said, this is why I cannot put him above number 6. I'm going to get to it for a second. 2016 NBA Finals. Was this the greatest comeback in NBA Finals history? On paper, it would say yes, because the Cleveland Cavaliers came back from 3-1 and they beat a juggernaut 73-win Golden State Warriors team that had the unanimous MVP and Steph Curry. This is where I dispel the narrative right now. What we have here, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, we have a shared screen of the 2016 Western Conference Finals and Eastern Conference Finals, along with the NBA Finals between these two teams. So if we look, we're going to start with OKC against Golden State. Right here, you could see the Thunder beat this juggernaut Golden State team, as everybody likes to put on top. They beat them by the score of 108-102, so they beat the Warriors by 6. Going into the playoffs, Stephen Curry injured his MCL. Well, he sprained his ankle in Game 1. Right? Steph Curry misses Game 1, he missed Game 2, and he missed Game 3. He missed the rest of Game 1, Game 2. Yeah, I had to bring that up. But don't worry, there's a reason why I'm making this point. Because people think that I'm even giving Kevin Durant a pass on this, but no. There's a reason I'm bringing it all up. Here's my point. Steph Curry got injured, right, in Game 1 with the MCL injury against the Houston Rockets. He came back. He came in game 4. He looked a little sluggish because he was shaking off the rust from the injury. Slips on a wet spot and sprains his MCL. Most MCL injuries take months to recover. Curry came back in what? What was it? 4? I think it was 4 weeks. Curry came back in like just a little. He came in in about a month when he was supposed to miss more time. So I'm gonna say this. Curry was already Curry had a couple of performances, and you know the old saying that if you put the jersey on, you're 100%, even if you're hurt. Because like I said before, all players are dealing with injuries at this time of the year. Nobody's really 100%, which is why, and you're gonna get back to this quote when I talk about, right? Okay. So Curry had missed many games in the 2016 playoffs. He came back in game 4 against the Blazers in the second round. Curry had 40 points, and then I think he scored 29 in the next game. So he had 69 points in 2 games. Fine. Curry was saying he was back or whatever, but he really wasn't 100%, right? Shout out to Doug Banks in the building. Appreciate you coming on through. Make sure to like and share. All right, now we get to the Western Conference Finals. So as you can see, the Thunder beat the Warriors 108-102. That's with KD and Westbrook. They beat the Warriors in their building by 6. We go to game 2. And we'll get to the Raptors and the Cavaliers because I just love how they talk about how this guy's played some competition, but we'll get to that in a second. Look at game 2. If you look at game 2, the Warriors, they blow out the Thunder by 27 points. They beat them 118-91. So now the narrative goes back to, look, the juggernaut Warriors, they killed the Thunder in game 2, right? Okay. Now let's go to game 3. Let's click on game 3. Folks, look at this. What score do you see right here? The juggernaut Warriors lose by 28 points on the road to OKC. 133-105. If you look at the stats, Curry and Klay Thompson were the only 2 players in double figures in that game. They were the only 2 players in double figures in that game. Where's this juggernaut I keep talking about? Shout out to Timmons G Spot. Where's this juggernaut that I see? No other player scored in double digits other than Curry and Thompson. They had 42 of the team's 105 points. This was game 3. If you look at the OKC Thunder, look at this. They had 6 players in double figures. Kevin Durant, 33 points. Serge Ibaka, 14 points, 8 rebounds. Russell Westbrook, a near triple-double. Go figure. 30 points, 8 rebounds, 12 assists. Andre Roberson, a guy who cannot score, had 13 points in 30 minutes. Dion Waiters, 13 points off the bench. Enes Kanter, 10 points off the bench. The Golden State Warriors only had 2 players in double figures in game 3. The OKC Thunder had 6. But remember, they're a juggernaut. Okay. So we get rid of this. Let's go to game 4. Ladies and gentlemen, look at this. The Golden State Warriors don't even score 100 points. Shout out to Damo in the building. Check it out. Look at that score. 118-94 that gave OKC a 3-1 lead, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that. Look at that. Now let's take a look at Golden State. This time, they had 3 guys that gave them double-figure scoring. Harrison Barnes gives them 11. In game 3, he only scored 6. Stephen Curry was second on the team in scoring with 19 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. Klay Thompson led the team in scoring with 26 in game 4. In game 3, Klay Thompson didn't crack 20. Stephen Curry had 24 points. Now let's go to the OKC Thunder. Funny, this juggernaut that we keep talking about. Wait a minute. No, you're not trying to hear that, Freddie. Sorry. Let's see. Kevin Durant, 26 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists. Serge Ibaka, 17 points, 7 rebounds. Steven Adams, 11 points. Anyway, shout out to Freddie Gay in the building anyway. Steven Adams, 11.7 rebounds, 2 assists. Russell Westbrook has a triple-double, 36, 11, and 11. Roberson, a guy who cannot score, had 17 points and 12 rebounds in 40 minutes. And Dion Waiters with 10 points off the bench. So in game 3, 2 guys in double figures for the Thunder. In game 4, 3 guys in double figures for the Golden State Warriors, I should say. Excuse me. In game 4, they had 3, and OKC had 6. In back-to-back games in games 3 and 4, OKC had 6 guys in double figures. The Warriors only had 2 in game 3 and 3 in game 4. I'm going to say it again if you don't like it. The 2016 NBA Finals were not an upset. It was not an upset. The 3-1 can easily fool you, but it was not an upset. Wow. Okay. We know what happens in games 5, 6, and 7. The Thunder blow a 3-1 lead. Warriors play desperately. They beat them 121-11. Durant with a 40-piece. Thunder have 4 guys in double figures. Golden State, they get more balance. They have 5 guys in double figures. So this was 5-4. So Golden State with a little more balance at home. Game 6, Curry and Thompson pretty much carried, especially Klay Thompson. They only had 3 guys in double figures, but Curry and Thompson had 72 of the team's 108, so it had to be them. The Thunder have 4 guys in double figures, and I'm going to say this right now. OKC blew a 3-1 lead because of Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and bad coaching. That's what happened. Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and bad coaching. They tried to play street ball the entire series, and they lost the last 3 games. That's what happened. People are coming out here and saying, oh, well, you know, Kevin Durant, it's all Kevin Durant's fault. It's all – no, they keep trying to say that it's Russell Westbrook's fault. And I said that you really can't. Yeah, Russell Westbrook thought he was the number 1 guy, but at the same time, Kevin Durant should get blamed too because he shot the ball horrible during those games too. He shot the ball well in game 7, but where was he in games 5 and 6? Freddie Gee, that's my point. And as a matter of fact, the Thunder were more talented than Golden State. They were more talented than Golden State. So we get to game 7. The thing with the Thunder is they blew 18 double-digit leads in that 2016 season. They should have won 60-plus games, but they kept blowing leads. And that was the case against the Warriors in the Western Conference Finals. They were blowing leads. The Thunder should have finished the Warriors off. This is why I'm on record as saying that they're not a juggernaut, because this is what happened. OKC try to win on talent. You cannot win on talent. You can't just win on talent. And that's what happened. They tried to play street ball and they lost because Golden State's system over the course of the series figured out what Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant were basically trying to do. They were playing my turn, your turn playground basketball. And in a 7-game series, that can only take you so far. That can only take you to so far. So this is the problem. When you look at why Kevin Durant left, yeah, was it a good idea to go to Golden State? No, because you just blew a 3-1 lead. But let's be really honest with ourselves. If this team was so offensively challenged, there's no way that they were going to be able to defeat Golden State, because not only did they have the weapons, but the system was not good enough to win either. Hello, it's about IQ. And the Thunder didn't have the IQ. They had the talent. They just didn't have the IQ. So, yeah, we could say that they're offensively challenged, man. But if they had continued to rebound the basketball, if they continued to imposively put their will on defense, they would have ended them early, man. Sorry. That was just poor leadership. There was no leadership on that team. So we could talk about offensively challenged all we want. That was just poorly done. Poorly done by OKC. Sam Presti never addressed the shooting on the Thunder. I've said that many times. And they never played a real system. There was nobody to really check. Shout out to Valix Prime Sports. There was nobody to really check. Nobody to really check Westbrook, man, to channel that inner alpha to tell him that he's not the number one guy. That's number one. But number two, Kevin Durant failed as a leader. He failed as a leader. And that playground basketball, it can only take you so far in a 7-game series. That's why they lost to Golden State, because the team IQ beat the individual IQ. That's what happened, or lack thereof, I should say, with OKC. That's how the Thunder blew a 3-1 lead, because pretty much the Thunder really didn't have a good bench, neither. Yeah, so we could say that. But that's why I said that that's why your two leaders, they screwed up. The Warriors, they gave them game one. That's what happened. The Warriors actually had the lead in game one, and they blew a double-digit lead on that too. OKC had no leadership. So that's why with a 3-1 lead, you got to close that deal. And Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook, they failed miserably. There was no coaching adjustments by Billy Donovan. You couldn't check Russell Westbrook because he thought he was the number one guy. Kevin Durant shot the ball poorly in games 4, 5, and 6. So when you combine all that, that's why the Thunder lost the series. So yeah, they had a shaky bench, but that's why play style is also important. If you have no bench, but you still were able to put the Warriors down 3-1, you got to close that deal. You got to close that deal. So that's why the Warriors came back. They beat them in game 7. Curry has the 36-point game in game 7, hit 7 threes, and they're done, right? All right. We go to the Cavaliers. They face the Toronto Raptors, or should I say the LeBronto Raptors? Need I say more? Cleveland wins by 31. Game 1. Game 2, Cleveland wins by 19. Raptors win by 15 in game 3. Game 4, Raptors escaped. Cleveland should have won that game in game 4. They should have ended the Raptors in 5 games. That should not have gone to game 6. Then you have, look at that. The Cavaliers win by 28, and then they beat them by 26 in game 6. So you got 26, 28, 19, 31. And like I said, on paper, you'll say to yourself, the Raptors gave the Cavaliers a challenge. No, that's further from the truth. Cleveland should have disposed of them really easy. They really should have, man. It's the reason why LeBron has owned that team those last 3 years, man. It's the truth. It's the truth. Okay, to the NBA Finals. To the NBA Finals. Ladies and gentlemen, take a look at game 1. Cavs and the Warriors. The Warriors are not a juggernaut 73-win team. They're just not. The Warriors win by 15. Remember how I said that the bench was compromised in the series against Oklahoma City? Pretty much it was about the stars, and the stars with the higher basketball IQ in the series ended up winning. Now, in this series, the Warriors bench actually outscored Cleveland's bench by a wide margin. This was with Steph Curry. He only had 11 points in 36 minutes in game 1, and they won by 15. Part of the reason was because they got 20 points from Shaun Livingston off the bench. Shaun Livingston did pretty good. Freddie, you falling for it, bro. You are falling for it easy. Bron don't make it a cakewalk. You acting like Kyrie Irving in on that damn team. Yo, I swear, bro. Oh, my goodness. Acting like Kyrie Irving ain't on that team. First of all, like I said, man, OKC may have not had a bench, right? But when we're talking about talent for talent, OKC more talented than Golden State's. Golden State's Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson. And then you look at the Cavaliers, remember, because going 2015, all we heard was, hey, there was no Kevin Love. There was no Kyrie Irving. I'll give you guys that, because the one thing I give LeBron a lot of credit for is how he carried the Cavaliers. Even if he did have a 2-1 lead, he carried the Cavaliers with Matthew Dellavedova as the second best player, and they got 2 games off of Golden State. So here's my question. If LeBron was able to get 2 wins off of Golden State in 2015, with Golden State having been to the NBA Finals for the first time ever, with Dellavedova as his second best player and even having a 2-1 lead, here's my next question. Why, fully healthy, game 1, NBA Finals, Golden State's win by 15. They win by 15 with Klay Thompson and Stephen Curry combined only scoring 20 points. Curry with 11, Klay Thompson with 9. The Warriors win by 15. Let's go to game 2. I'll be checking the comments in a bit. Game 2. Check this out. Look at that score, ladies and gentlemen. Warriors win by 33 by the score of 110-77. 110-77. 110-77. Kyrie Irving, absolutely terrible. 33 minutes, only scored 10 points. Kevin Love, terrible. 5 points, 3 rebounds in 21 minutes of action? Nah, that's not good. No, I'm sorry. LeBron James had a near triple-double, but what does it mean? What does it mean in a loss? It doesn't mean anything because a loss is a loss. Okay, Curry and Thompson, they play a little bit better. They scored 35 points combined, but check this out. The Splash Brothers had no effect in the first 2 games, but you get 20 points from Sean Livingston, and you get 28 points and 7 rebounds from Draymond Green. Now, fortunately for the Warriors, the 28 points that Draymond Green had led to a win. They had some balance off the bench, but let's be really honest. Are you winning most games in the playoffs with your role player in the starting lineup being your best? You're being your best scorer? Most times, 9 times out of 10, the answer is usually no, right? So with Curry and Thompson, and you know what people need to realize? Klay Thompson has not had a great NBA Finals. He didn't have his best finals until against the Raptors. Even with or without Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson has always struggled in the NBA Finals. He's always struggled. So the Warriors, and look at that, Harrison Barnes, who was LeBron's assignment, in 35 minutes only scored 5 points. Golden State is not more talented than Cleveland. Golden State just plays a better system than Cleveland, but that doesn't mean that they have the better overall talent. They don't. Because they have no – it's not like you're saying that they have nobody that can stop Steph Curry. You can stop Steph Curry as long as you're allowed to be physical with him. As long as you get to be physical, you can take Curry out of the game because he can easily get frustrated when you have to double him and he's forced to pass the ball out. They don't have anybody that can guard LeBron James on the Golden State Warriors. Iguodala could do what he can, but let's face it, still, LeBron is going to get his numbers, one way or another. But think about that. Curry and Thompson only scored 35 points combined. Curry actually shot the ball well in this game. He was 7 of 11, but he only played 25 minutes. If Curry plays more minutes, I'm guaranteeing you Curry gets in the 20s, but he only played 25 minutes. But my question is this. How is it that a more talented Cleveland team compared to Golden State lose by 33 points? And they just came off a daunting 7-game series against OKC. Daunting 7-game series. But they lost by an average of 24 points per game. And they're coming off a 7-game series against OKC, an emotional 7-game series in which they were down 3-1. Now let's go to game 3. This is where Cleveland takes over. Cleveland, they blitz them from the jump. Look at that score, ladies and gentlemen. 120-90. 120-90 is the score. Cleveland wins by 30. They win by 30. Let's take a look at Stephen Curry. Harrison Barnes, so far, best game of the series. 18 points, 8 rebounds. Look at Draymond. He had 28 in game 2. He went from 28 to 6. 6 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists in 36 minutes. Take a look at Curry. 19 points in 31 minutes. Klay Thompson only had 10. 10. Only had 10. Iguodala had 11 off the bench. By the way, and G Money makes another good point. The Cavaliers never trailed in that game. They beat the Warriors by 30. This is the game that actually turned this part of the game that turned the series around. Look at the numbers by LeBron James: 32 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists. Look at Kyrie Irving. He helped LeBron with 30. So let me get this straight. Let's go back to the Warriors. The duo of the Warriors had 29. The duo of Kyrie and LeBron had 62 points combined. Oh, and I think Kevin Love didn't play in this game because he had the concussion. Right? Klay Thompson, I'm going to say this again. With or without Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson has never played really well in the NBA Finals. He has a game or two. He has a little sample size where he plays well, where he can have a really good game. But in his finals career, up until 2019 against the Raptors, Klay Thompson has never played well in a series in the NBA Finals. It's amazing that nobody talks about that, which is why I have to debunk that narrative. Look at that. The duo of LeBron and Kyrie outscored Steph and Klay by 33 points. So once again, the Splash Brothers, through the first 3 games, have no impact, but they're still up 2-1. Let's go to game 4. The proof is right here, ladies and gentlemen. This is where Curry has his best game of the series. Check it out. Harrison's scoring goes down from 18 to 14 in 40 minutes, right? Draymond Green, 9 points, 12 rebounds, 4 assists. Without Kevin Love, the defense is better, right? Klay Thompson, he scores 25 points. So this is the first time that Curry and Klay actually have impact on this game. They score 63 points combined, the Splash Brothers, right? Iguodala has 10. Warriors have 4 guys in double figures, right? We're not even going to get to the bench. Now let's go to Cleveland. Look at that. This is with Cleveland having 5 guys in double figures. They get Kevin Love in 25 minutes only scores 11 points. So he was kind of pretty much a non-factor, right? But remember, he only gets mentioned for 2015. But other than the Game 7 performance that he had with the 14 rebounds and defended Curry in the last possession, Kevin Love was really a non-factor. So it really came down to the dynamic duos, and the duo of LeBron and Kyrie, they score 59 points. So they don't really outscore. LeBron had a near triple-double, right? I'm going to be reading the comments in just a second, guys. I'm just, pretty much going back. I'm just going back and just reading this because I see you guys in the comment section. So J.R. Smith scores 10 points. Tristan Thompson gets 10 and 7. Okay. Jefferson had only 3 points in 25 minutes. LeBron with a near triple-double. Kyrie Irving gives you 34 points, right? But Cleveland's down 3-1 due to the fact that they didn't play well defensively in this game. And Curry made, I think, 6 or 7 threes in that game that he scored 38 points. Up to this point, it was the best game he played in the finals. He only shot 44%, but it was the best game that he played up to this point because he knocked down 7 threes. I think he shot 50-something% from three-point range. Okay. So now we go to game 5. So, and by the way, the first 4 games that you guys already see, all by double digits. We don't have a close game yet. All by double. Maybe at some points in the game, maybe game 4, I want to say. But the first 3 games, they were just, nah. All right, let's go to game 5. Let's go to game 5. The turning point in the series. Obviously, we already know about the Draymond suspension. Draymond should have been suspended in the series against OKC, but that didn't happen. They waited for the finals to do it after the whole thing with LeBron James. But anyway, down 3-1. So let's talk about what happened in Game 5. Game 5. This is Klay Thompson's best game. We're going to go to him real quick. Curry scores 25. Okay. Klay Thompson scores 37 points. Played really well in the first half. Okay, the duo of Klay Thompson and Stephen Curry, they give them 62 points. Right? Andrew Bogut gets undercut by J.R. Smith, and he goes out. So now there's no rim protection for the Golden State Warriors. He's gone. He's gone. He's gone for the series. Tears his ACL. Harrison Barnes now starts to struggle. Only scores 5 points in 38 minutes. What does that allow LeBron to do? LeBron doesn't have to defend Harrison Barnes because he's laying a brick house. He can't hit open shots for nothing. Harrison Barnes really struggled in the last 3 games of the series. Iguodala with a near triple-double in 41 minutes. There's no Draymond Green. He's suspended for Game 5. Stephen Curry struggles and scores 25 points. He didn't shoot the ball well in this game. But let's look at LeBron and Kyrie. LeBron, 41 points, 16 rebounds, 7 assists, a near triple-double. Nice. Kyrie Irving, 41 points, 6 assists, 3 rebounds. Shout out to Anthony Rose in the building. What's up? Here's what's so crazy about this game. It was the first time in NBA history that 2 sets of teammates had 40 points apiece in the same game. So LeBron and Kyrie give you 82 of the team's 112 points. That means the bench only gave you 30. So it was a carry job by both LeBron and Kyrie Irving. And once Andrew Bogut went down, LeBron and Kyrie got the drives that they wanted to be able to go to the basket. They were able to get to the paint at will. The rotations were late. LeBron was getting mismatches with most spates on him. You take him to the rack. And that's what happened. There was no Bogut. There was no security blanket to be able to block shots. And I think Anderson Varejao was on this team, but he wasn't really going to do much at that point. I'm sorry. Okay. So LeBron, I believe he shoots, I think he shot 65% from the field, I think, in this game, which is great. That's awesome. Kyrie Irving, he shot 70% from the field. I could be wrong about this, but I don't think there was somebody could look this up. But I think Kyrie was the first player, I think, in NBA history to shoot 70% in a 40-point game. I don't think it had ever been done. I don't think it had ever been done. And Kyrie played 40 minutes. They played 83 minutes combined. But Kyrie had shot 70% from the field in this game. He was 17 out of 24. I think LeBron shot 64%. He was 16 of 25. I think those were the numbers. But look at this. Another double-digit loss in the series. The 5th one helps get the Cavaliers to pull within 3-2. Right? Now we go to Game 6, where Curry gets the phantom calls. And he gets kicked out of the game late. Game 6. LeBron James played amazing. Let's look at this. Okay. Curry scores 30. Klay Thompson scores 25. So let's see. Klay with 25. He has 37 and he has 25. So Thompson scores 3 straight 20-point games, right? Freddie, you laughing so hard, bro. So this is what I'm basically saying. I'm telling y'all, man. This is what I'm trying to tell y'all. This is not an upset, and here's why. Because like I said before, Golden State has a great system. Cleveland had the better talent. When you stack them up on paper, Cleveland had the better talent. Golden State just had the better system, and they play more like a team. That's why the 73 wins, as historic as it was, it's overrated. It's overrated. It's overrated. No, it's not an upset, Freddie. When you consider it's not an upset, it's not. I'm sorry, it's not an upset. This is what I'm basically getting into this explanation about 2016. The narrative has been painted saying that this was an upset. It was not an upset. And if you look at the first 6 games, they've all been blowout. They've all been by double digits. Cleveland won by 14 in this game. I'm gonna say this again. The Cavaliers had no business being down 3-1 to Golden State. I've said this a million times. They had no business being down 3-1 to Golden State. None. None. Their bench has a bunch of cast-offs. You know why I say that? People forget what happened after they lost this series. Harrison Barnes was gone. Leandro Barbosa was gone. Festus Ezeli was gone. Festus Ezeli was not in the league after this. Brandon Rush was not in the league anymore. Anderson Varejao was not in the league anymore. Mo Spates was gone. Some of these guys are cast-offs. When you look at this Golden State Warrior team, the system really got the best out of everybody. But these guys really didn't do anything like that when it really mattered. So the Cavaliers did their thing. LeBron James has an amazing 41 points. Kyrie Irving only scores 23. J.R. Smith played big. Tristan Thompson chipped in 15 and 16. And listen, by the way, I agree that LeBron should be the Finals MVP. So I'm not going to sit here and say that, oh, Kyrie was no, LeBron James is the Finals MVP. All right. So it doesn't matter if the Warriors were favored, Freddie. I've always said this. You could talk about who was favored. It's a matter of how you play on the floor. That's what matters. How you play on the floor. The Warriors were favored because of the record, but let's face it. Coming into the 2015 season before the Warriors came out of nowhere, who were the favorites to win the NBA title? It was the Cleveland Cavaliers because Bron, Kyrie, and Kevin. Listen, Kevin Love is overrated, but the problem is the 4-letter network viewed him as a top 10 player. That's why they hyped up the Cleveland Cavaliers when Bron came back. They thought nobody was going to be in their way by the time that they went to the NBA Finals. And whoever came out of the West, they were going to lose to Bron's Cavaliers. And you know what's the crazy part? Yeah, so the Golden State may have been favored, but like I said, that's a narrative that they painted. This whole thing about LeBron, 7 out of 9, he was the underdog. No, they keep making Bron like he's this underdog victim, and it's just not true. After Golden State won the title, guess what happened? They said that Golden State's title was a fluke because Kyrie and Kevin Love were not there. That's what people are not taking into account. On top of that, the triangle offense is good, but it has its flaws too, though. It has its flaws. The triangle is not perfect, especially you got to consider what type of NBA that they're in at this point because you're in 2016. You can't really use a triangle offense all game. It's not like back then when you really had to focus on half-court basketball and execution. It's not, that's not what the game is, what the game became. All right. So getting back to this, man. So, LeBron has a monster game, 41, 11 to 8. That's the infamous Curry mouthpiece game, obviously. Really frustrated with the calls he got, gets kicked out of the game. After game 6, what does LeBron tell what does he tell Ty Lue and the rest of the Cavs? They effed up. They are mentally effed up. That's what he tells them. He tells everybody in the locker room they effed up. Golden State was done. They were done. Golden State was done. After game 6, I had a feeling that the Cavaliers were going to win the series. You just knew. The thing is, think of everything that's happened. You have the suspension to Draymond. You had the knee injury to Bogut. The bench was not playing well. I felt like the Warriors never really got out in transition. Give the Cavaliers credit. They slowed the game down too. That's another thing that which is what gets me upset about 2017. They didn't take the blueprint for what they did in 2015 and 2016. They tried to play at their pace when they got Kevin Durant. And that was a big mistake. They never tried to slow the game down. which I never understood why they didn't do that. That's why their defense was so bad. They never at any point tried to slow the game down. The Warriors, they can execute in the half court, but the problem is that they want to play fast. That's how the Warriors play. They want to play up and down. The Cavaliers never adjusted to that. They never made any adjustments. They never tried to physically slow down Curry. It was more difficult because obviously Kevin Durant was there. But again, I look at that as a mano-a-mano matchup. I'm going to go to 2017. I'm going to be making another video on that coming up soon. Wait, what teams win in the finals? All right, so we go to game 7, the be all to end all, right? So we go to game 7. All right, here's game 7. Game 7 was the most. Well, right now, game 7 is on record as being the third most watched in terms of views in NBA history. It's behind MJ's 93 finals and the finals that the Bulls played in 98 against the Utah Jazz that has the most views of all time. The Golden State Warriors against Cleveland in game 7 had the third most views in NBA history. I think it's over 31 million views. Okay, here's the score. This was the only game in the entire series that was close. The only one. The only one. And this was a game where the Warriors actually had a 7-point lead. They were up 49-42 at the half. They only scored. Cleveland outscored them 51-40 in the second half. And Kevin Love has a near double-double. LeBron James in 47 minutes has 27, 11, and 11. Kyrie has 26, so they score 53. Let's go to Golden State. Let's look at the Warriors real quick. Klay Thompson and Steph Curry in the biggest game of the season both played terrible. Both of them. Game 7 was great. Game 7 was a classic. But the series overall was overrated. It was overrated. It was overrated. So this is my point. This is my point that I'm trying to say. Look at Curry. He had 17 points and he only shot 6 of 19 in a pivotal game, and he had key turnovers, right? By the way, did y'all see that last possession? Okay, Kyrie hits the go-ahead 3. Obviously the block by LeBron James. But here's the problem that I'm having. I'm having with that play. I really feel like it didn't matter if, let's say that the block doesn't happen, and let's say Andre Iguodala, let's say that he scores, right? No one's ever going to talk about the undercut by J.R. Smith to allow LeBron to have more time to get that block because the adjustment gave LeBron more time to time his block. They're not going to talk about that. Anyway, Kyrie Irving hits the let's say that Andre Iguodala scores and LeBron doesn't get that and the Warriors lead. People are saying that the Warriors, they probably win the game. You don't know that because there was still time left. That's number one. Number two, then Kyrie Irving hits the shot in the MVP's face, the unanimous MVP in Steph Curry. Hits it in the face on the right wing. Drills a three-pointer to give them a three-point lead. Let's say that Iguodala scores and they're up 91-89. Kyrie hits the go-ahead 3 to put them up 92-91. It wouldn't have mattered because the narrative was still going to be, okay, Curry misses the three-pointer at the other end. LeBron James gets fouled hard by Draymond Green, and Draymond really fouled him hard on that play. LeBron James goes to the line. He pretty much makes 1 out of 2, let's say at the free throw line or, whatever. It doesn't matter. The media was still going to talk about that Bron sealed it with the free throw. It didn't matter. It doesn't matter. So let's say LeBron doesn't block Iguodala. Kyrie hits the go-ahead three-pointer. It wouldn't have mattered because they still would have said, I just don't understand. The thing I don't understand, they act like Kyrie's shot didn't matter. What mattered was LeBron's free throw. No, LeBron's block mattered because it kept the game tied. I'm not going to sit here and say that it wasn't a big play because it was a huge play. I'm just saying that I felt like the block was as important as the three. There's supposed to be synergy there. The media just doesn't want that. It's about Bron. And I'm saying, well, Kyrie hit a huge shot. The LeBron's block doesn't mean anything, and Kyrie doesn't hit that shot. They just focus on the block more than the shot. And I'm saying they should both be important because both of those things is what helped Cleveland win the game. That's what I'm trying to say. The problem is they want to overrate that block so much. There's like, oh, it's the reason that they won the game. And it's like, if Kyrie doesn't hit the three-pointer, LeBron's block means absolutely nothing. But again, to the four-letter network, they're just going to keep playing it as a highlight. That's my point. That ain't the point, Freddie Gee. That's cool that LeBron makes the block. I'm telling you that the undercut was vital. That's what I'm trying to basically say. Kudos to LeBron for making the chase down block. I'm just telling you that the undercut by J.R. Smith was the key for LeBron to time his block. Nobody could do it by LeBron. Awesome. LeBron is supremely athletic. I get it. I know. I saw the play a million times. It was a heck of a play by LeBron James. I'm just saying, if J.R. Smith ain't there, Iguodala scores that ball despite having back spasms. Despite back spasms, he scores that ball. And I think LeBron would have been just a fraction late. That's how athletic LeBron is. They never show Kyrie shot. They don't show Kyrie shot. They show, you know what's so funny? They show the block more than the free throw because they talk about how the free throw, he seals it, but they never talk. They only show the block and they don't show the free throw. It's crazy. That's kind of weird. Give LeBron credit. The speed that he had to even track down was crazy. But like I said, man, JR doesn't get as much of a bone as much as just retarded Hennessy Smith is. You have to give him a lot of credit. As a matter of fact, JR played very well in those finals. Give him a lot of credit. Got to give JR credit. But like I said, the finals MVP, it's all good, man. Yeah, that's another problem that the Warriors had. They started to go one-on-one and they stopped moving the basketball. But I also feel like the pressure of blowing that 3-1 lead really got to the Warriors, so they really started to press. And so, quite honestly, LeBron and Kyrie, they played more loose and free, knowing that they were already mentally effed up. The Warriors were done. And it's amazing that it was a 93-89 game, to be honest with you. It really is. So, again, I give LeBron credit in the world for making that block. But if JR is not there, LeBron doesn't make that block. Iguodala scores despite having back spasms. But like I said, the media will find a way to talk about the free throw then more than Kyrie's shot. I'm saying the block was as huge as Kyrie's three-pointer. Synergy, man. Synergy. LeBron and Kyrie together that got Cleveland that NBA championship. They got Cleveland that NBA championship. And I always use it as a dynamic duo. Take Kyrie off of that team. Then it's going to be LeBron doesn't have help. So LeBron gets the finals MVP. He deserves it. He deserves it. He deserves it. Well, let me be very clear. Freddie Gee makes a great point about the Seattle Supersonics. The funny thing is about the Sonics, the 94 team that they had that won 63 games, they were more talented than their 96 team. But the 96 team was still good though. I think the 63 win Sonics were more talented, but but Freddie's right on that. They did choke. They were up 2-0 in that series, and they lost the last 3. That team had Kendall Gill on there, so Freddie does make a good point on that. But listen, man, when it comes to MJ's going up against the 92 Blazers, the Blazers, man for man, were more talented than the 92 Bulls. It's just they lacked IQ. They were a bunch of boneheads, but they were the better team. against Chicago. It's just they were boneheads, especially when it comes to late game situations. But the Blazers were more talented than the Bulls. The 92 Blazers, they were more talented. So you have to understand. So y'all got to understand. This is Curry going 6 for 19, and the Cavaliers struggled this much to beat Golden State. It should have never happened, to be honest with you. It really shouldn't. Like I said, Draymond finished with 32 points, 15 rebounds, and 9 assists. And this is why Curry, shout out to Logan, this is why Curry gets criticized. Because in 2015, Andre Iguodala won the Finals MVP. 2016, if the Warriors somehow were to win this championship, Draymond Green would have got Finals MVP. So then people are going to look at Curry and say, well, you're the best player on the team, but 2 role players won MVPs in back-to-back NBA Finals? Nah. Listen. So this is what I'm saying. This is why I get on Bron, because I'm basically saying, Nate, man, people forget that the 2016 Cavaliers actually started the season 30-8. The first 38 games of the season, they had the best record in the Eastern Conference. Trailing the Warriors, they had the second best record in the NBA that season. Well, actually, no. I think San Antonio had the second best record, but no, okay. They had the third best record in the NBA. Still, but best record in the East. They lost 3 straight, and then David Blatt obviously gets fired. Cleveland should have won 60 games or more, but they coasted. They coasted after that hot start. They coasted. If they wanted to, they would have won. They would have won. In my opinion, if you look at the pace the Cavaliers were at, they looked like they were at a 63-64 win pace. So the problem that I'm having with this whole 2016 NBA Finals is that it's not that LeBron doesn't deserve any credit. He deserves credit. He was the best player in the series. The problem is he got way too much credit. That's the issue. It's not that LeBron doesn't deserve credit. There's a reason why he won the Finals MVP. He was the best player on the floor the entire series. Well, I can't say the entire series, but he was the best player as the series went on. But Kyrie Irving did his thing too. That's what I'm basically saying. If you look at LeBron and Kyrie, they were doing my turn, your turn stuff. That's all I'm saying, man. Well, the Nuggets didn't even make the playoffs in '96, so there was no there was no chance for them to meet. I think the opponents for the Sonics were the Kings, the Rockets, who they ended up sweeping. Then they went to a 7-game series with the Jazz in '96 before losing to the Bulls in '96. Shout out to Brett White in the building. Freddie, you make a good point. Larry, well, yeah, they talk about that athletic play that Larry Bird made on the pass from Isaiah Thomas. So they link the great players, but nobody talks about the layup that Dennis Johnson made. That's very true. That's very true. So once again, Freddie, you make a great point. That's true. They talk about Larry Bird's steal, but they don't talk about the layup that Dennis Johnson made, because if he makes a shot, that steal would have meant nothing. It's true. No, I don't think the Warriors were overrated. It was really more so that it's really much record, man. So here's the thing. If you look at the Warriors of 2015 and 2016, the reason that they got as far as they did is Steph Curry was doing things that pretty much the league wasn't really doing in terms of pulling up from 28 feet, 28, 30 feet. Eventually, the league caught up to that. That's why you see a lot of players just chucking up threes. Daryl Morey tried the analytics because of what Steph Curry and Golden State were doing, but especially Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. That's where he got the blueprint from them. But that's what I was trying to tell y'all, man. 93-89. This was not an upset. The narrative was painted on a canvas as to say this was an upset, but it wasn't an upset. It wasn't an upset. I'm going to say this again, man. I'm going to say this again. The Cleveland Cavaliers should have disposed of the Golden State Warriors. This should have been, I'm going to be real honest, man. They should have knocked this Warriors team off in 5 games. Maybe the Warriors might get 2, but I would give them 5 games. Because like I said, the fact that the Warriors came off an emotional 7-game series against OKC and then found themselves up 2-0 after the first 2 games, yeah, that's why you have to question it. Why was LeBron James and the Cavaliers down 3-1 to this Golden State team with everybody healthy, whereas in 2015, with Klay struggling and Curry struggling through the first 3 games, they was able to get 2 without Kyrie and Kevin Love. But then a fully healthy Kevin Love and Kyrie, Kevin Love wasn't doing anything, obviously. So that didn't help because he was compromised because he wasn't really scoring, and then he's a liability on defense. But at least with Kyrie, you find yourself down 3-1. I'm sorry. And I'm going to say this again. The most dominant Warriors team, ladies and gentlemen, the most dominant Warriors team is the one with Kevin Durant on it. 2017. That was the best. That's the best Warriors team. Okay. The 2017 Warriors was their best and most dominant team. You look at the records that they set in that 2017 season. That doesn't really get talked about like that. People focus on 2016 and the fact that the thing is, again, Ron Harper said it best. 72-10 don't mean a thing without a ring. So when you look at this 73-9 team, it don't mean a damn thing without a ring. Because also they had the most wins in a calendar year in NBA history. But guess what? The Bulls still have the best win percentage. They are 87-13 overall. The Warriors are 88-16. It took the Warriors 6 more games to win 1 more than what the Bulls had, and yet the Bulls have a better percentage. And like I said, it was a historic season, impressive, but the Warriors didn't win. And they blew a 3-1 lead. Why do you think it always gets mentioned for Golden State? That's why it's always going to get mentioned. Let me just check the comments real quick, going into the comment section. Let's see. We have Doug Banks says that Warriors team in this series with what they had going would not have won 73 games. Timmons G Spot says the Warriors built their dynasty off of one team and they never beaten a team more than 55 wins in the NBA Finals. The Warriors are good but not great. Take a look at their opponents. Cleveland Cavaliers in 2015, 53 wins. 2016, 57 wins. 2017, 51 wins. 2018, 50 wins. 2019, Raptors, 58 wins. The only 2 teams that they beat with a good amount of wins were the 57 win cap. No, actually, no. No. The only team that they beat. Actually, no. Wait. Timmons G's, you're right. I'm just thinking about it now. In their 3 wins, they beat a 53-win Cavs team. They beat a 51-win Cavs team, and they beat a 50-win Cavs team. They lost to the 57-win Cavs, winning more games, and they lost to the Toronto Raptors, who won 58 games. Now, be it, there's some context to it, but it's true. The Warriors have never really beaten. If you look at the Cleveland teams they faced, yeah, which also leads me to this. LeBron James doesn't get to 8 straight finals without teaming up with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh or Kyrie and Kevin Love. It just doesn't happen. To keep that streak alive, he had to leave. He had to leave Miami because of what was happening to Dwayne Wade to go to Cleveland, knowing that Kyrie was going to sign that extension. Kevin Love, like I said, ends up being overrated, but at the time, he was regarded as a top 10 player. Is able to go to the finals. LeBron had the luxury of playing the Toronto Raptors 3 years in a row. Did you know that LeBron also played the Washington Wizards 3 years in a row? And that was pre-Miami. He faced the Detroit Pistons 3 times in 4 years. And I think the Boston Celtics, he faced them 2 times in 3 years, but Boston was actually his biggest hurdle. Poseidon says, do you think that LeBron would, if LeBron faced if the Cavs brought in Amari Stoudemire, do you think LeBron leaves in 2010? I don't know. I really don't know. And I say that because it would depend on how the Cavs would have done in the postseason. That would tell me if LeBron still would have left or not. I don't know. So a part of me probably even says that they probably maybe still leave. Who knows? So I'm gonna say this again. The 2016 NBA Finals had a great Game 7, but that's it. That's all it was. I love the drama that Game 7 had. The crazy part is that Steph Curry did not even make excuses for his MCL sprain. He didn't. He didn't make excuses about that MCL sprain. Freddie says that Russell or Wilt might be the GOATs if we're keeping it real. Okay, Josh is saying Freddie, 6 in 11 years, again, better than 4 in 18. Oh, we're talking about the championships? Okay, let me say this as well, man, because this is another thing that people have to understand about Bron. LeBron James is going to go down as one of the best to ever lace him up. LeBron James has an impeccable resume. LeBron James brings a lot to the table, and I have him over Kobe Bryant. Believe it or not, I have Bron over Kobe. I don't have Kobe as a top 10 player, and I made my reasons as to why he's not. But if you want to have Kobe in your top 10, I don't got a problem with that, but I got Bron over him. I got Bron at number 6 all time. I got Kobe at 11th, and I got my reasons for it. No disrespect to Kobe. Rest in peace. He was my favorite player growing up. But like I said, the more I watched Kobe, I was able to make more assertions over time. But here's the thing. Here's the thing with Bron. The reason that Bron's got more caveats is this reason. The biggest reason right now, I'm not even going to talk about the series that he's played in. The problem with Bron is nobody's really watching him, but Laker fans and LeBron fans. This guy just came off having, he won Finals MVP, but it was the lowest rated NBA Finals in NBA history. That's crazy. The best player in the game and nobody's watching you. That's saying something. Because as great as LeBron is, you would think that LeBron is must-see TV, but nobody was watching Bron. And I really wasn't even doing the NBA Finals because I looked at the ratings and I'm like, yo, why are the ratings so low? And it had a lot to do with politics. And I said, so they're not watching you because of the social stuff, right? It's people come to sports to not deal with political stuff, but the political stuff got involved and therefore nobody wanted to watch. And the ratings for the NBA have been very bad this entire season. It got to the point where I didn't even really want to do games because it was getting really bad. It was getting really bad. No, I am not going to do a playoff preview. I am not. I am not. And I'm just saying it for real, man. My thing is, I kind of wish Bron didn't. That's the problem. That's the problem when you're looking at when you start to base everything, you start to realize it. That's kind of been the problem. So when we look back on these 2016 NBA Finals, everybody talks about how amazing this 3-1 comeback was, but on paper, Cleveland was more talented than Golden State. We have to get rid of this narrative. You can't have it both ways if you're a LeBron fan to say, well, without Kevin Love and Kyrie, how was Bron supposed to be Golden State? And you were able to get 2 games. Then with a fully healthy Kyrie and Kevin Love, you're down 3-1. And then you lose Kevin Love with a concussion for the rest of game 2 and all of game 3. And you were able to win by 30 without Kevin Love. But that's also because you had Kyrie Irving. So that's why you gotta really think about that. You gotta really think about that. How was Cleveland down 3-1 while Steph Curry and Klay Thompson struggled the first 3 games of the series? The 2 best players in Golden State struggled through the first 3 games, and they were still down 3-1. And after Cleveland made that comeback, the Warriors cleaned house. They cleaned house to get Kevin Durant. They bring in David West. They bring in JaVale McGee, who surprised the hell out of me because I didn't expect JaVale McGee to play as well as he did. They obviously bring in KD. They got Matt Barnes at some point late in the season. So I'll say it again. The Warriors of 2017 are their most dominant team. That's the best team. You could put that 2017 team just about almost against anybody, depending on the rules, obviously, depending on who you want to put them up against. What rules are you playing under? So it'll depend. So let me get to MJ real quick, because we cannot make an excuse about 1995 about how he wasn't in the best of shape. But my thing is that people say that they don't mention about Jordan losing to the Magic. Well, maybe that's people who just kind of tend to leave these things out. But I've always mentioned about Jordan losing to the Magic in '95. Yeah, Jordan played 17 games. Jordan may have not looked right, but if we're really, really honest, man, he had the fortunate fortune of playing against the Charlotte Hornets, in which he averaged I think he averaged 32 points a game and almost shot nearly 50% in that series. And the Bulls won in 4. But then they lost in 6, where Jordan kind of really struggled against the Magic. Had a couple of good games here and there, but he wasn't the MJ. And one of the reasons the Bulls struggled in that series was because of rebounding. This is the way I measure a player. I never measured them just on one statistical category alone. I never do that. It's a total body of work. If we go on by rings, Russell's the GOAT. If we go on by statistics, you can make a case that Wilt is the GOAT. I put total body of work. You know, Bill Russell should get more credit because Bill Russell won a gold medal in the Olympics. That's something that nobody talks about. And also, Bill Russell won in high school and he won in college. So like Kareem, Bill Russell won at every level. And he competed in the Olympics and has a gold medal. That doesn't get talked. That's why I got Russell number 3. Some people have him lower because they look at his offensive numbers and they want to focus on that and say that's why I don't feel like he's a top 10 player. Some people have done it, but again, that's subjective in your opinion. But I say when you impact 11 championship teams, even if you've played with talent, take Bill Russell off that team. As good and talented as the Celtics are they winning championships without that defensive presence in Bill Russell? The answer is no. And Bill Russell played with a lot of talent. Don't get me wrong. I mean, the great Bob Cousy, Sam Jones, Tommy Heinsohn, Don Nelson, John Havlicek. I mean, we could go on and on. But I think he played with JoJo White. But still. But MJ was good, man. It's just that again, you can't make excuses. And the thing, you know what's so funny? MJ was on record he took the loss very difficult, and he didn't make excuses about it. He lost. Maybe it's Jordan's fans who are the ones that are making the excuses in terms of, well, not all of them. I'm pretty sure it's the ones that fanboy him so hard say that it wasn't Jordan's fault. Jordan took the loss personally when he lost to Orlando. If you watch the Above and Beyond 1996 documentary, Jordan talks about the loss of the Magic. You got to watch it. So if you haven't seen Jordan where he admits that he had a tough time dealing with the loss of the Magic, go watch Above and Beyond 1996 documentary on YouTube. He talks about how he took the loss really personal when he lost to Orlando. And here's the reason why Bron is never going to be number 1. Again, great player, easily top 10. I don't think they beat the Rockets in 95. I don't think so. But this is why Bron is never going to be the GOAT. Low viewership in NBA Finals play. Currently, the best player in the NBA has low NBA ratings, so people are not watching you. That's a problem. As the best player in the game, you should be watchable. The fact that nobody's watching you is a problem. You say you're not gonna be quiet on political and social issues. He's gonna be digging himself a big grave. And the thing is, Adam Silver doesn't really care. He doesn't really care. As long as they got their sponsorships with China, that's all that matters. Then you have the 2011 NBA Finals. I'm going to say it again. You cannot be outplayed, bro. You cannot be the greatest player of all time and get outplayed by 2 role players on the Dallas Mavericks. It just cannot happen, man. There have been superstars who have had bad series, but not on the level of Bron, especially when he teamed up with 2 other guys in his same draft class. They won gold medal together in Beijing. They were top 4. They were in the top 5 in player efficiency rating, even though people want to say that's an overrated stat, whatever. Chris Bosh didn't do anything in Toronto. If you want to say that, that's cool. But the point is that Chris Bosh is an all-star player that you teamed up with. Bron is on record saying that it makes things a lot easier where you don't have to do too much, and it's fine. But my thing is, you were able to team up with Wade and Bosh as free agents. Okay. LeBron has the right to do that. But my thing is, don't come out and act like you didn't play on no damn super team, because you did. That's the issue I have. It's not that you teamed up with Wade and Bosh. Fine. That's cool. You do what's best for you at the end of the day. But my thing is, don't come out and saying that you never played on a super team. That's exactly what came out of his mouth after they lost to Golden State in 2017. He said he didn't. First of all, LeBron said he don't even know what a super team is. And he said he never, and he said he don't know nothing about super teams. You can't do that, man. Y'all making it seem like it's like, did y'all see what the 2013 Miami Heat were? Remember? Oh, Ray Allen, he was a shell of himself. Okay, if Ray Allen was a shell of himself, why did both Wade and LeBron recruit him to from Boston? Remember the enemy? If Ray Allen was as washed up as these guys say, why did they recruit Ray Allen? If Kyrie doesn't have a ring without LeBron, and LeBron is the reason that the Cavaliers won the championship, and if Dan Gilbert is such a terrible owner, why did you go back to Cleveland? Why did you go back to Cleveland? The same city that burned your jersey when you went to Miami. And you got to understand this at the end of the day, man. Cleveland is a small market, of course. So it was difficult to get players there. But the funny thing is, under David Griffin, they were actually willing to try to pair up players. The people know that even if Cleveland is a small market, they try to get Kevin Durant to team up with LeBron James after they won the title in 2016. Freddie, you can't use that 1-9 if they were still losing, bro. Is that I keep saying that when you use that 1-9 argument, it's like they kept losing even with Scottie Pippen. It took Pippen 4 years to become the player he became. And Scottie was vital for Jordan winning 6 championships. So of course, he's not going to win without Scottie. I'm just saying you can't use that narrative if they kept losing. They lost 3 straight years after Pippen got drafted. That just doesn't fit that's a way to paint a narrative like that. You can't really use that narrative when they kept losing. And they lost under Doug Collins 2 years in a row to the Detroit Pistons before Phil Jackson came in. And even with Phil, they didn't win until their second year. Phil Jackson was vital for Jordan's success because Phil was able to get Jordan to get back to playing team basketball because with Doug Collins, Jordan was kind of being, I'm gonna pretty much say it, he was kind of being a stat pattern. I'm gonna keep it real. Jordan loved to score the basketball. Phil Jackson was key for Jordan winning because Jordan went back to the team concept that he learned when he was under Dean Smith. So it was crucial for Phil Jackson to be there for Michael Jordan. But it also took them to lose to understand what he needed to do to become a better player, for the teammates to become a better team, and for them to be able to win. Freddie, you're making my point, man. You're making my point. You're making my point. How you gonna say 1-9 without Scottie Pippen, but then you say All NBA as a rookie? That's my point, bro. You can't, Freddie, man. You're falling for the trap again, buddy. You're going into my argument, bro. You cannot use 1-9, but then say, "Oh, so he was supposed to make an NBA All Rookie." Can't do that. You're setting yourself up right there with your own narrative, right there, bro. You can't. Like I said, I got a lot of love for you, Freddie, but you can't use that, bro. Can't. If you're gonna sit here and say 1-9 without Pippen, how you gonna say? And that's what I'm basically trying to tell you. Scottie Pippen was really a non-factor when they finally went past the first round. Doug Collins cut down his minutes because Scottie was starting to struggle. Scottie was getting better and better year after year until Scottie was good to go. And he was the legit number 2 that Michael needed to win championships. Phil Jackson's triangle offense for Michael to need championships. What do you mean? What do you mean player development? What are you talking about? Wait, what do you mean Mike won one game? If you're talking about the 88 playoffs, what do you mean? So why bring up Kyrie? What I'm basically telling you, Freddie, is yes, it does make sense because Bron gets all this credit acting like if he didn't have any other players with him. And I'm saying that Scotty's development was the key for Jordan winning. People just go 1-9, but they don't talk about how Scotty was really a non-factor those years that they were losing. He was getting better and better, but they weren't winning yet. And I said it's a combination of things. It was coaching. It was Jordan being the stat pattern, losing his way of being a team player during their losing years. And Doug Collins gets blamed for that. Then on top of that, they ran into higher IQ basketball team in the Detroit Pistons, in the Boston Celtics. They were better teams. So yeah, Mike, and again, bottom line is Mike lost. Like, well, what are we saying? And I said it many times. He got his butt kicked 6 years straight before he finally won. But again, it was development process over the years, man. That's what happened. Mike didn't win until his 7th year, but again, it was from draft, develop, bring talent, lose pieces, bring in pieces, bring in the coaching structure. And again, rest in peace to Jerry Krause. I think it's unfair that he gets the disrespect that he does. And I get it. He has a big ego, but like I said, Jerry Reinsdorf should be getting more blame. I hate the fact that Jerry Krause has to take the blunt of all the unfair criticism that he got from Jordan and Pippen. And like I said, to a certain degree, I can understand why they would criticize him. But again, the person who really should get criticized is Jerry Reinsdorf. He gets a pass for just about everything. If there's any snake in that Bulls organization, Jerry Reinsdorf, the ultimate snake, ultimate. Freddie, did you see the players on that roster on the years that Kyrie? And you have to also remember Kyrie was not healthy in some of those. Dude, you know that Kyrie was injury prone. Exactly. Yeah, Josh, you got to count 95. That Jordan lost. That's the bottom line. He chose to come back. He could have came back for the 96 season and let 95 slide. He chose to come back. You have to count 95. Even if it's 17 games, it don't matter. Jordan played, you have to count that. You have to count that. A loss is a loss. And it's gonna go it's in the record books. Jordan lost in 95. So in one part, I can actually understand Nick Wright because some people try to be revisionist when it comes to him losing in 95. He lost in 95. And Jordan admit to losing in 95. You got to count that. You got to count that. So, like I said, basically the reason why I wanted to do this, is because again, this isn't to diminish Bron in any way. Some people are going to look at it that way, but again, we gotta get rid of these narratives. We got to get rid of these narratives. I'm gonna say this again. The 2016 NBA Finals had a classic, great Game 7. But the first 6 games of that series were completely overrated by the amount of double-digit wins by both teams. And like I said, the Warriors were the favorites going into the series when you look at Vegas odds. But going into the season, the Cavaliers were favorite. People called the Warriors chip a fluke heading into 2016, which is why the Warriors went on that rampage as they did. As a matter of fact, what people forget about was Bron was actually so pissed that the Warriors were getting more attention than the Cavaliers were. I don't know if people know that. Well, Freddie, this is another problem though. you can't sit here and you can't sit here. Okay, if you're gonna say that, take a look at it this way: the 2007 Cavs, because I knew you were gonna probably go there, dude. I had the Cavaliers beating the Wizards as it is anyway, but it made it so much easier that Gilbert Arenas and Caron Butler didn't play in that series. It made it so much easier. They swept them. Then you look at the New Jersey Nets. You got to be kidding me. That's a next. They underachieve after putting Vince Carter with Jason Kidd and the Richard Jefferson, who they were talking about as this amazing trio. They didn't do squat. They lost in the first round in 2005. They lost in the second round in 2006, and then they lost in the second round in 2007. On top of that, you got to look at it this way too. No, Pippen was not. No, Pippen made his first All-Star team in his third season. By year 3, Scottie Pippen made the All-Star team, 1990. Year 3. In year 4, in 91, he didn't make the All-Star team. And then in year 5, he made it. By year 5, he was a 2-time All-Star. But he made his first All-Star team in 1990. 1990. So if you want to know when Scottie Pippen made an All-Star team, it was 1990. But let me also say this right now. Offensively, I could honestly say that LeBron did not have a second guy, like a legitimate scoring second guy that could give you like 20 plus points easy. He didn't have that. But you cannot say the team is trash because, again, that team was very good defensively. And if you look at that 2007 series against the Spurs, 3 of the 4 games were by single digits. Games at home, they lost by 3 in game 3 and by 1 in game 4. They were great defensively. They were in the top 5 in a lot of defensive categories with the Cleveland Cavaliers in 2007. Offensively, they sucked. They were not that great offensively. But remember, when your team is trash on both ends of the court, man. Lou, I was thinking of every other superstar. I think the only dude had to be T-Mac. Bro, I've been saying this for the longest time. The Eastern Conference has been weak for the last 20 years. 20. There's a reason why the West has more chips than the East. There's a reason for that. Why do you think all these Western Conference teams, and when you look at the Phoenix Suns or the Dallas Mavericks, I remember, what was it, 2007? Oh, no, wait. That just made me think right now. That just made me think about something. 2016. The Spurs went 40-1 at home. That hadn't been done. That had not been done in 30 years. The 86 Celtics went 40-1 at home. They won 67 games, did the San Antonio Spurs in 2016. That was 6 wins off of the Golden State 73-win team. And people forget that the OKC Thunder of 2016, they lost 18 games in which they led by double digits. Think about that for a second. You would have had 3 teams in the Western Conference that would have won 70 games. That's how weak the Eastern Conference is. So that's basically what I'm trying to say, man. So like I said before, let me go into the comment section. All right. MJ is better offensively and defensively and has more rings, MVPs, finals MVPs, defensive player of the year, and defensive first teams. I also got to say this about LeBron too. Another reason that's kind of killing LeBron a little bit is if you look at his all defensive teams, LeBron was a pretty good defender in his prime, especially when he was with the Miami Heat. The problem is that I've never heard of a player stop playing defense before the age of 30, which is what LeBron did. You know, it's really tough when it comes to defense between Mike and Scotty. I said that Scotty to me was a better off-ball defender than Michael Jordan. I thought Jordan was a better on-ball defender than Scottie Pippen. Not by much. Not by much. Not by much. But actually, the defensive metrics actually favor Michael Jordan. And it's crazy to me that Scottie Pippen never won a Defensive Player of the Year award. That to me is crazy. I'm wondering if there was any politics into that, Scottie not winning that award. That might be a future video that I might do on Scottie not winning a Defensive Player of the Year. I'm surprised that he hasn't won one. Tim Duncan hasn't won one. I don't know. It's strange. But I'm going to be doing the 2017 NBA Finals next once Kevin Durant arrives, and we're going to get into that too. Now, I picked the Warriors, obviously, to win the series. It's a bit different now. You add KD, you pair them up with Curry and Clay. You know, it's a bit different. It's a bit different. Well, I'm on record as talking about the 2020 NBA title. I said that there's people who are different about this, but I don't really. You guys know this. I'm on record as saying this. I didn't care who won the NBA Finals. To me, it was a fluky NBA title. It's just people are going to be biased based on who they like. Because if Kawhi Leonard had won it, they would have said, "Oh, look, Kawhi Leonard, man. See, look what he's doing. He goes to Toronto, wins a title. He goes to the Clippers, he wins a title." That would have been the narrative about Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard's my favorite player, but I would have went and looked and I said, "Look, man, it's a fluky on the spot NBA title. It was a bubble title. I'm sorry, that was a bubble championship. That was a isolation chamber championship. That was an ICC. I would say that in Kawhi's face. If Kevin Durant would have came back and Kyrie, I would have told them the same thing. It's a pandemic title. That was not real. That was not real. Well, Freddie, it depends on who you're talking about. I got to eliminate the 1991 finals narrative too, because that's another one that's going around. I gotta debunk that too. If we talking about that, but that'll be for another video because I'm gonna save it for that. So, ladies and gentlemen, bottom line is, again, LeBron and Steph Curry, two of the greatest players to ever play this game. Much respect to them both. Again, this is just eliminating the narrative that this was a upset. This 3-1 comeback by the Cleveland Cavaliers. On paper, the Cavaliers were more talented than Golden State. They had no business being down 3-1, especially with Curry and Clay struggling in the first 3 games of that series. And the best games that they both played were in games 4 and 5. Oh, no, I'm not talking about all-star selection. I was talking about defense. I wasn't talking about that. Oh, no, Freddie, you make a point. Jordan loved to gamble. Jordan loved to gamble on defense. That's a fact. I'm not going to sit here and deny that. I've watched plenty of MJ games where Jordan would overplay and he would try to gamble. Jordan was good defensively, but he had a tendency to gamble. It's crazy that Kobe doesn't get enough credit for his defense because Kobe, yes, at times he gambled. He didn't put up the cumulative statistics that Michael Jordan did. So you could easily say, but I feel like Kobe it's funny how Klay Thompson gets all this credit for the great defense he played, but he didn't make an all-defensive team until 2019. And Klay Thompson reminds me of what Kobe is on defense, but Klay doesn't get enough credit for that. So, I mean, but Kobe did make 9 teams, but some of those were overrated, honestly. He got some of those by reputation. I say at best, he could have made, I want to say 8 defensive teams overall. Josh is absolutely right when it comes to Pippen and Jordan. Pippen was the more versatile defender than Michael. He was more versatile. But if you look up their defensive metrics, Jordan actually had more impact on the defensive end than Scottie Pippen did. As crazy as it sounds, it's the truth. You got to look it up. You got to look it up. No, Josh is actually speaking the truth. You can arguably say that Pippen is a better defender than Michael Jordan because of his versatility, but I've always said this before, versatility doesn't always equal better. And if you look at the defensive metrics, Jordan actually had more impact on the defensive end than Scottie Pippen did. It's true. You just gotta look it up. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, next video is going to be on 2017 coming up. Between the Cavaliers and the Golden State Warriors, and I have to eliminate that narrative too, but that'll be coming up. But anyway, guys, this was fun. Like I said, nothing personal. It's all basketball at the end of the day, basketball talk. Again, all these guys are great. At the end of the day, it is what it is, man. We just do basketball talk. Yeah, we could look at defensive metrics without Scottie Pippen. I'm definitely going to do my research and look that up. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so have a wonderful night. Take care. Be back on the next one. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that like button as well. And again, this is Lewis Sports Star. We're saluting to everybody, man. Much love. Much love to you guys, man. Bless up. We'll be back on the next one. I'm going to do Knicks and Lakers tomorrow. So make sure y'all pull up for that, man. Take care. Have a wonderful night. And we'll be back on tomorrow. Little baseball, then some basketball, man. Have a wonderful night. Sleep well. Salute. I almost ended the broadcast without playing my damn video, man. Roll the tape.
Taken by Iguodala. They do have a timeout. Decide not to use it. Curry, way downtown. Bang! Bang! Oh, what a shot from Curry!